All right, thanks for bearing with us here on Atlanta News First Plus. I apologize for that technical difficulty we had just a moment ago, but I think we've sorted everything out. But just to recap, we're following two major stories this morning. One is Hurricane Debby, and I want to let you know that Governor Kemp has deployed some 2,000 National Guard troops to the Savannah area, which is also where we have our first alert meteorologist Cutter Martin standing by to bring us coverage as well. And we are expecting evacuees here in Metro Atlanta, so we're going to go a little bit deeper into that. But the other major story that we're following is back to school for two of the largest school districts, Fulton County as well as DeKalb County. We're going to go into that. But first, let me show you some footage, of what we're looking at with Hurricane Debby. And it has officially made landfall in Hatchie, Florida. You can see here it's already showing a surge in Cedar Key, Florida. Meanwhile, heavy rain and strong winds are expected for South Georgia as well. So that's why we've got preparations underway right now. Again, Governor Kemp sending 2,000 National Guard troops down south to the Savannah area. Atlanta News First Asia Wilson reports from the Georgia Emergency Management and Homeland Security Agency's headquarters in Atlanta with what we could see here.
State officials say we could see evacuees from the southern portion of our state heading this way, as this could be a historic storm. They're ramping up response now due to all of this. The director of the Georgia Emergency Management and Homeland Security Agency says they have 17 emergency support functions here now, ranging from housing, water, power, and external affairs. And the Red Cross says it has sent more than a dozen crews over to help. We're told that area could see high winds and catastrophic flooding. Officials say while there will be minimal to no storm impacts here in Metro Atlanta, they say we could expect other things.
Folks are evacuating South Georgia coming northbound. We're going to see those crews, those roads filling up, hotels, motels, things of that nature. They're going to fill up a little quicker. Our EMCs and our power, you'll see a lot of trucks on the road.
Now we're expecting to get another briefing from emergency officials very soon about where things stand. In Atlanta, Asia Wilson, Atlanta News First.
Thanks so much to Asia for that report. Okay, looking at this radar here, we have First Alert meteorologist Rodney Harris. So obviously everybody wants to know, how is it going to impact them?
Hey, good morning to you, Joy. So we are still looking at Hurricane Debby, which made landfall, Joy, around 7 o'clock this morning, just northwest of Cedar Key, Florida. Debby, Joy, had winds of 80 miles per hour at landfall. So Debby was a hurricane at landfall. Right now, it is still over Florida, the center of Debby, with winds of 75 miles per hour and still producing a ton of rain for not only Florida, but South Georgia as well. So that will continue to be the story today, is the rain that's being produced from Debby for Florida and South Georgia. And again, that will continue to be the case today. I want to walk you through what you can expect here. First of all, here is the forecast track. And as you can see, Debby is expected to become a tropical storm. Our next advisory will be at 11 o'clock this morning. And when the National Hurricane Center issues that advisory, I do anticipate the winds dropping below hurricane strength. So it should become a tropical storm this afternoon as Debby continues to track north and east through Florida today. Debby will move through southeast Georgia tonight and Tuesday as a tropical storm, still producing heavy rain and tropical storm force winds. So that's something we'll have to deal with again tonight through Tuesday. First Alert meteorologist Cutter Martin is actually headed to Savannah, so he will have live coverage throughout the course of the day and tomorrow for sure. Now, Debby will reemerge in the Atlantic before taking aim for the Carolinas at the end of the week. So this is a storm that will impact the southeastern U.S. the entire week, and something we're going to have to focus on. So here's what you can expect in Metro Atlanta and North Georgia. We've been talking about this all morning. Our impacts here are very, very low. You can expect a slightly higher wind this afternoon. We're talking about wind gusts of 20, 25 miles per hour. Increasing clouds, which we're already seeing, and maybe some isolated showers here or there. The coverage is only at like 20%, so it's a lot less rain compared to what we saw last week. Here's a look at the wind. That's the second part of the story. So this is our wind gust forecast, and you can see in orange, those are tropical storm wind gusts of 39 miles per hour. hour. And in yellow, those are just 20 mile per hour wind gusts. So the tropical storm wind gusts will, of course, stay in Florida and South Georgia, but that yellow does creep up into metro Atlanta. So this afternoon, we will see our winds gusting up to 20, 25 miles per hour. That's not even a wind advisory, but it is higher than normal, so don't be surprised if it's a little bit breezy later on today if you're headed out for lunch, or if you're taking, or once you pick the kids up from school. Those winds will remain gusty throughout the afternoon and start to relax after we lose daytime heating later on today. In terms of rain, the rain chances, again, only at 20%. You'll notice the clouds thickening up, especially south and east of metro Atlanta this afternoon as Debby gets closer and closer. Edenton, Athens, you'll notice more cloud cover. And there's the potential, at least, for some isolated showers, but on this forecast map, it's really not much. So I do think that most of you will stay dry, but don't be surprised if you see a shower or two as the outer bands of Debby continue to move toward the north. And that'll be the case on Tuesday as well. You can see the heavier rain is just east of us. It's right on our doorstep, but it will stay south and east of metro Atlanta and North Georgia. And like today, Tuesday, we could still see an isolated shower or two on the outer rain bands of Debby. That's really your forecast for the next 7 days. We'll keep highs in the upper 80s to low 90s with a slight chance of a shower or two just because Debby is so close to us. It's possible that we may go a day or two without any rain at all. And if you go further west from Atlanta, we're not really forecasting any rain. But we have to keep that 20% in your forecast again just because Debby's going to be so close. Just can't rule out a stray shower or two with it being close by. But the impacts are going to be pretty minimal. And one thing that I will note is that once Debby moves northeast up the U.S. coast, the East Coast, it's going to actually pull in some drier air. So the end of the week going to the weekend, our humidity should drop a little bit, which is something that we'll certainly take. So that's the latest on Debby. We'll take you back to the current information on Debby again. It is a hurricane right now, still with 75 mile per hour winds, but our next advisory is coming out at 11 o'clock. And when that advisory comes out, I do think that it will be a tropical storm. The winds are at 75 miles per hour. The moment it drops below 74, it will be classified as a tropical storm. So that hadn't happened yet. Debby is still a hurricane, but I do think that as of 11, it will become a tropical storm, still producing a ton of rain for Florida and Georgia. And unfortunately, that will be the story over the next several days, an unprecedented amount of rain. So we'll keep you up to date on Hurricane Debby. First Alert Chief Meteorologist Jennifer Valdez has an update on Atlanta News First at noon. And, of course, you can get updates 24/7 in our First Alert weather app. We hope you guys have a good day. We'll keep you up to date on this weather. But for now, back to you, Joy.
Rodney, you know I adore you, but even more after all that info that we really, really needed. So thank you so much for that. Okay, let's talk about back to school. Because it's, we're talking about all the weather, which obviously is important. It's going to affect everybody. But thinking about the timing of all this, it's the first day back for Fulton County schools. And it's a new morning routine, yet another round of Metro Atlanta families back to class for the state's fourth largest school districts. Atlanta News First, Don Shipman is at Herds Ferry Elementary School, where kids pre-K through 5th grade are now back in class.
The majority of the students are inside for their first day of school, and for some, they are getting reacquainted with the school, but for many others, this is their very first time at this school. Like you mentioned, pre-K through 5th grade students attend Herds Ferry Elementary. The school principal here greeting those students. Fulton County's more than 87,000 students heading back to school today with a full roster of teachers for the district's 104 schools. This school right here, this elementary school, one of 58 elementary schools in the district. There are 19 middle schools, 19 high schools, and 7 charter schools. Mixed emotions on the first day of school. Some kids are super excited, others might be a little nervous, and the same goes for parents.
Our Eagle Alliance, our PTO, they host a boo-hoo, woo-hoo brunch this morning. So the parents that are either super excited that they just dropped their kids off, or the ones that are struggling, they can get together and either give some comfort or have some laughs together.
And to help all of these kids get used to school, what they did was they had an open house here last week, so parents and the kids could stop on by, they could meet their teachers, get a lay of the land and figure out where their seat is and stuff like that, making it much more easier for them to enjoy their first day of school today. We're in Sandy Springs. Don Shipman, Atlanta News First.
And thanks so much to Don for that report. But it's not just DeKalb County, excuse me, it's not just Fulton County, it's also DeKalb County that's heading back to school. Atlanta News First Rebecca Schramm reports from that school district's headquarters in Tucker.
With Gwinnett, Fulton, and DeKalb County schools back in session, that means every major metro Atlanta county now has busloads of children back on the roads with you as you head to work. A couple of things new this year in this school district. DeKalb has a pilot program for select middle and high schools to help keep students off their cell phones during class time. Students will place their phones in a pouch or locker in the classroom that they can pick up when that class is over. Also, the school board approved adding more weapons detection systems to several schools. They've also added them to the district's 5 stadiums, so expect to see those security upgrades in school buildings and at sporting events. And at the elementary school level, more students now have access to free breakfast, lunch, and afternoon snacks thanks to the expansion of a federal program. I spoke with the district's chief operations officer about that. He joined us before sunrise.
That means many thousands more children will have access to free breakfast, lunch, and an after-school snack at no charge to them. So we're very excited about that and being able to provide that for them as well.
The superintendent, Dr. Devon Horton, will be out and about greeting students today on this first day of school. We'll have highlights for you throughout the day. In DeKalb County, Rebecca Schramm, Atlanta News First.
And thanks so much to Rebecca for that report. You know, we have all the information you need on back to school, including what districts, what schools are coming back today, and if not today, then when, on AtlantaNewsFirst.com, also on our free mobile news app. In addition, as I mentioned, we are keeping our eyes on Hurricane Debby, its impacts here in Metro Atlanta and beyond, in Savannah as well, where Governor Kemp is sending 2,000 National Guard troops. If you haven't done so yet, I really encourage you to download our free Atlanta News First mobile news app. We also have a special weather app. That way you can get alerts on all the top stories and weather sent right to your phone. Thanks for being with us.